All right, I've shown you how to do the 5-number summary, and you read the examples in the book. This is just going to give you another visual for how to create the graph based on a 5-number summary. So, oh gosh, I hope I remember what it was from that example before, but I think what we had before is we had the minimum value in our survey was 0. Q1, the median of the lower half was 1, I believe. So that's Q1. Q2 was the median of the entire group, which was 2.5. Q3 was the median of the upper half, and it was 8, I think. And then the maximum, whoops, not Q. Maximum was 11, I think. Okay. Even if those weren't the exact same numbers, we're just still illustrating how to go from 5-number summary to graph. The box and whisker plot starts off with a number line. Okay, and the number line has to be equally spaced. So you would never simply just put those 5 numbers on the number line. Number lines are equally spaced. You are representing the numbers from 0 all the way up to 11. You don't have to start at 0, but that would be a logical place to start. Sometimes your minimum might be like 10. You can start your number line at 10. You don't have to always start a number line at 0. But that is our lowest value, so I'm going to start my number line at 0. And I'm just going to number by ones until I make sure I've covered at least up to 11. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, and that actually spaced out pretty evenly. Sometimes you have to stretch it out. Okay, so you start off by drawing a number line. Your graph floats above it. So sometimes it's called a box plot. That's kind of like that's like the mature way to say it. It's really called a box and whisker plots graph, but I don't know, some people I guess think that sounds silly. Box and whiskers plot. But knowing that it's called a box and whisker plot kind of helps you graph it. So here's what you do. Floating up above the minimum and the maximum, you're going to put a dot. So somewhere above, it doesn't matter where. So my minimum is 0, so somewhere above the 0, I'm going to put a dot. And then over at 11, somewhere above the 11, but you want to try to keep it on about the same plane as your other dot, relatively even. Okay, those are going to be what's called the whiskers. The box comes from boxing in these numbers from 1 to 8. So above Q1, my Q1 is 1. So I go to 1 on the number line, and I'm going to draw the left side of my rectangle right above that number 1. The right side of my rectangle, I'm going to draw above Q3, which in this example is 8. Okay, so I've got the left and right side of my box ready. So I can go ahead and enclose my little box. And then Q2 is a line in the middle. Q2 is at 2.5, so that's about halfway between 2 and 3. So I'm going to draw a little line right here. Notice it's not symmetrical. It's not the center of the box. It's the center of your data. And then the last thing you do is just connect your little dots to the box, and that creates a little box and whiskers. The purpose of it is it gives you a really quick visual of where the lowest numbers are, where the highest numbers are. The median would be the middle. That means the middle half of everybody was really squeezed in between these few values, whereas the upper half was spread out. So it just gives a good visual of the data. But that's what you do. Take your 5-number summary, put a dot above the minimum and a dot above the maximum. Draw lines above Q1 and Q3, and that tells you where to draw your rectangle. Q2 is going to be a line in between your rectangle, and you just draw all those above where they would go in the number line. And that's your box and whisker plot.